New court documents tell us why Bryan Kohberger became a person of interest in the murder case. That the killer may have stalked the victims before the murders. They show how investigators retrace Kohberger's movements the night of the crime and reveal a possible eyewitness inside the house. And they claim they found the suspect's DNA at the murder scene. It was police at Washington State University, 20 minutes from Moscow, Idaho, who likely first uncovered the name Bryan Kohberger. Surveillance cameras recorded what investigators say was a white Hyundai Elantra near the murder scene on November 13th. A police officer queried white Elantras registered at WSU, and one came back to criminology student Bryan Kohberger. Was Kohberger stalking the victims? That's a question investigators sought to answer when they obtained a search warrant for records from Kohberger's cell phone. Court records say on at least 12 occasions prior to the murders, Kohberger's phone was detected near the murder scene in late evening and early morning hours. Additionally, Kohberger was detained as part of a traffic stop in Moscow on August 21.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today?
3 months before the killings and months before he and his father were stopped for a traffic violation traveling home to Pennsylvania from WSU in mid-December. All of this is part of tracking Kohberger's movements, which documents detail. Using cell phone records and security camera video, investigators determined Kohberger's car and cell phone left the Washington State campus at 2:44 a.m. on the night of the murders, headed for Moscow. Investigators say there were multiple sightings of the car on security cameras around the crime scene, starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. Records say that is the time the killer murdered 4 University of Idaho college students inside their home. But there were 2 surviving roommates who were not attacked, and one of them is an eyewitness. Inside the house on King Road, one roommate heard crying and strange noises after 4 a.m. A short time later, documents say she saw a man in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose, and she watched him in a frozen shock phase as he walked out the back door. Investigators say her description generally matches Kohberger's features, and those same investigators say DNA is the proof that Kohberger was inside the home. Documents say that DNA comes from the sheath of this type of knife, called a K-bar, that was left behind at the scene of the stabbings. Investigators say DNA from that knife sheath matches a DNA sample pulled after agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family home in Pennsylvania. That's where officers arrested Bryan Kohberger in an early morning raid on Friday. As Sebastian said earlier, no motive identified in these documents. What is also still unclear is why these stabbings that occurred around 4 in the morning were not reported to police until noon, many hours later. The documents do not explain that delay.